everyone, I'm Lynn and I'm going to talk about the Varberg Museum mystery. This was pretty cool, a little bit different. Someone sent me this question. I had not heard of this story and even this place, so I thought today was a great day to have a look at it. So the question, hi, recently I visited the Museum of Varberg on the west coast of Sweden. One of its exhibitions displays one of the best preserved medieval human remains ever found. The so-called Boxton man who died in the 1300s. So how cool is that? His clothing and hair were all intact when he was found in a bog not far from Varberg in 1936. The composition of acids in the bog and the preserved his attire, as well as the oak pole struck through his heart and into the ground. Remnants of 2 birch poles were also found. In those days, impaling was done to those who had committed suicide, were murdered, or practiced witchcraft as a means of preventing their ghost from haunting the living. The impaling was usually done collectively by a group of people. Archaeologists say that he seems to have been conscious of the trends and the fashion at the time and probably belonged to the upper classes, although not nobility. Archaeologists argue that he probably had close contact with local nobility and perhaps worked for them as a craftsman, scribe, or similar. He was impaled with his body facing down instead of upwards, as in customary burials. This leads archaeologists to believe that his killers intended to degrade him after he was already dead, and to this day, though the reason for the murder remains a mystery unsolved and nobody knows for sure, perhaps you can solve it. So on my blog itself, I have a couple links that go into talking more about him and this exhibit and just the story behind all of this. So I wanted to have a look and see if I could figure out who he was and what happened to him. And when I first focused on him, I saw him working, and he was friends with many of the nobility and the staff of the nobility. Like, he did work for them. So I do believe that the archaeologists were on point with that and what they suspected. Again, he was quite the ladies' man, and he had sexual relations with more than one important public figure. I see he also fathered an upwards of 20 children, unbeknownst to the husbands of these women. The man felt to be very scandalous, kept much of his extracurricular activities too as a secret and to himself for over a decade, until he was caught in the act with a nobleman's wife. The wife was imprisoned and tortured by having, and sorry for the graphic detail here, but I can see her fingernails being removed, until she revealed what she did know about him in possible past relationships. It was like she was caught, she was imprisoned, and they tortured her till she revealed more information or more things about this guy. The man was also in prison, and he was tortured until he came clean and repented for what he did. I got that he had to admit what he did because other people out there wanted to know his comings and goings of the area, to know who he's impacted and whose lives were impacted here. After the confession, he was sentenced to death, and I get that that they did a stab in the heart and they made it for all to see, so it had to be exactly in the heart. It was a horrible death, and he learned his terrible lesson, and they made sure that everybody there knew what happened when you messed with the nobility and tried to infiltrate it in a very indirect yet direct way. And that was all I have for this reading. Very interesting story here. If you have something you'd like me to look at, please go to my blog and send through a free request. Again, I am Lynn with Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com. Thank you. Bye.